بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. عظم الله أجورنا وأجوركم بمصابنا بسيدنا ومولانا أبي عبد الله الحسين عليه السلام، وجعلنا الله وإياكم من الطالبين بثأره بين يدي الإمام المنصور المؤيد المهدي من آل محمد. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا وعظيمنا وحبيب قلوبنا وشفيع نفوسنا أبي القاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين وأصحابه الغر الميامين. الحمد لله الذي جعلنا من المتمسكين بولاية سيدي ومولاي علي بن أبي طالب. Or someone slaughtered or a genocide take place, automatically where does my mind go? Karbala al-Hussein alayhi salam. Automatically from where? Towards Kufa. From there, towards Sham. All of these stages, as soon as I see the news, I think about Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. The question then arises, is that the atrocities in Palestine, are they comparable exactly to what took place in Karbala? Someone might say, what do you mean? You'll find that today within our communities, this question has arisen. There are certain people who, when they answer this question, will give you different answers. As in, you would think that our answers might be uniform, but no, on the contrary, each and every one of us may give a different answer to this question. There are some people who might turn around to you and say, Karbala and Gaza are exactly the same. There is no difference in the two. Karbala is a great incident. The massacre in Gaza is a great incident. And there is no difference between the two whatsoever. Then there are others who say, no, Gaza is even greater than Karbala. Karbala, only 72 died. Whereas Gaza, the numbers are going towards the 6 figures. Gaza, we witness all of these atrocities. Karbala, yes, Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, he was beheaded and his companions were killed and his family members were taken as prisoners. But they turn around and say that Gaza is the Karbala of today. And that Gaza may even be greater than Karbala. When we look at this brings about an interesting sociological as well as theological dilemma. Sociologically, it highlights the mindset of some members of the Shia community. That where exactly are they in their mindset? Is Karbala purely a social movement like any other social movement? Has Karbala been reduced to a social movement like the movements that may happen in any country when there is oppression or when there is a dictator? Then on the theological level, it raises a major question. Can a massacre that occurs with a group of people be compared to a massacre that involves somebody chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? This is a theological issue of the utmost importance. Why? Because at the end of the day, my son or my daughter or the youth of the community, at the end of the day, their world revolves around their theology and their understanding of social movements. Therefore, when you look today on Facebook or on Twitter or on Instagram, you'll find that the Shia community is not unanimous in their answer. Some will say, Gaza to me is greater than Karbala. Some, however, will turn around and say, Gaza and Karbala are equal to one another. Some may give a third opinion. There isn't a competition that we're having here, of course. The loss of one person is the loss of humanity. You kill one person, it's as if you've killed the whole of humanity. But there is also a need for a person to understand the theological basis of who they've come to honor on the 10th of Muharram. The man you've come to honor on the 10th of Muharram is not a simple person who just lived on this earth and died. The whole universe revolves around this man and his mother and his father and his brother and his grandfather. But there is a need for us to understand it. To understand it for what reason? Not to reduce from the loss of blood of any human being. Not at all. That is never the intention. Because may Allah never show us what people go through in such moments. But for us to understand why is it that we're honoring this person and how the heavens and the earth viewed the killing of this man and what he did for humanity on the 10th of Muharram. Let us tonight dissect in complete depth Karbala and Palestine, the similarities between the two and the subtle theological differences as well. And I'd like to do this in the following stages. Number one, Palestine, was it because of the government of the time that the people are oppressed? Or was there already a plan before this government came into power that leads to a massacre? And how did this happen in Karbala as well? Number two, how does a government use religion for its political ambitions? How did that happen in Karbala as well? Number three, when it comes to a racial arrogance, how is there a clear racial superiority and arrogance when it comes to the massacre in Gaza and Rafah? And how was that racial arrogance present with Karbala as well? Number four, how does a government ensure that no aid can come to that area? How did that happen in Karbala as well? Number five, how does a government silence anyone who wants to speak about the issue? How did that happen with Karbala as well? Number six, when your friends are silent, it's worse than your enemies. How did that happen in Karbala as well? Number seven, how does a government make sure that no water can reach the people in Palestine? And if it does, then only a certain portion of it. How did that happen in Karbala as well? Number eight, when it comes to children being killed, how did that happen in Karbala as well? Number nine, when it came to women being attacked. How did that happen in Karbala as well? But importantly, number 10, if these are all the similarities, then what are the differences with Karbala? And how did Karbala highlight that the man who was killed on that day wasn't a leader of a social movement? The earth depended on him as a hujjah of Allah standing on it. Let's examine this and dissect the topic in complete depth. When we see what's happening in Palestine today, no doubt it brings us back to Karbala. That no one can deny. The first way it brings us back to Karbala is when we see a government who is ready to massacre all ages, all genders, all backgrounds. But the first interesting point about that government was October the 7th the beginning of what they were doing? Or was the reality that the government that did this, it was paved for them many years earlier? Because when a person looks in Palestine, many imagine that they look at the government and they say that that government, that's their policies. No. That government, required before them governments that paved the way for such things to happen. A government doesn't just turn around in one moment and say, that we're the ones who are going to make this decision. No. That leader has to be a leader who looks at the leaders who've come before him. Those leaders who came before me, were they also leaders who opened the door that we can assassinate anyone, we can threaten anyone, we can silence anyone? Before the current leader, who did they have? Ariel Sharon, it was normal for him. Sabra and Shatila and a massacre. it was normal in the Nakba for them to see in the 40s that anyone who they did not believe have a right to live here, then if you have to kill them, kill them. You have to burn them, burn them. You have to commit a genocide, so commit that genocide as well. All of this happened because of a declaration that this is your land, wherever you are in the world. If you're in Russia, it's yours. But when you get it, don't let it go. At the moment, you don't have it. At the moment, you may only be 6% of a country, but the moment you do get it, don't let go of it. The first similarity was what? Was that when you looked in Palestine, you cannot say that the actions of Netanyahu were only Netanyahu. No. 50 years and more before Netanyahu, there were already people who paved the way for that action. If Netanyahu was allowed to burn, there must have been others who told him you should burn as well. If Netanyahu was ready to order killing, there were others as well. The first point about Palestine and the genocide was what? Was that don't just look at 2023. Go back earlier and you'll see those who paved the way for Yazid to dominate over us. Because the first point about Karbala was what? Was that in the same way in Palestine, you have a government, and that government is ready to kill because of the actions before. Likewise, Karbala. You think Karbala happened on the 10th of Muharram? On the 61st year after Hijrah? Karbala happened because of Saqifa. Saqifa paved the way for Karbala. Someone says, but said Ammar, Saqifa is in the 11th year after Hijrah. Karbala is in the 61st year after Hijrah. Saqifa number 1 allowed the government to come into power whichever way they wanted. Yes? The government, whatever election they want to pull, they can pull that election. Saqifa number 2, what did it also do? Anyone who opposes our government, we're ready to burn them. Yes? Are the narrations clear that if they're gathering in the house of Imam Ali alayhi salam, then go and burn that house. Why? Because if they don't pledge allegiance to us, then what do you do? Then you have to go and burn the house within which Ali, Talha, Zubair, and others are all gathering. Number 3, what did Saqifa also do? That I as a leader can also choose leaders after me. Yes? If I want to, I am the Khalifa. If I want to choose Umar after me, then we all know that Abu Bakr is the one who nominated Umar. What's there to stop Muawiyah nominating Yazid? Muawiyah, what did he show? Muawiyah showed straight away from the beginning. Muawiyah showed something very clear. If in Saqifa a government has already allowed us to kill anyone who gets in our way and to have a mass attack on anyone who opposes us, like Malik bin Nuwayra, when he never paid taxes to Khalid ibn al-Walid, then what's there to stop me also massacring Shia? Muawiyah had governors in Basra, governors in Yemen. These governors, Muawiyah made clear, any of Ali's Shia, if they stand up to you, what's wrong with you guys? Burn their bodies. If you have to, not just burn their bodies, also behead them. Don't just behead them, also behead their children as well. If there is a child who's screaming, how do you think Abu al-Fadl al-Abbas alayhi salam, his wife Lubaba, Hazrat Abbas's wife Lubaba, from a childhood she saw her family, her brothers beheaded in front of her. They were beheaded how many years before Karbala? Many years before Karbala. What Yazid did on the 10th of Muharram, the first similarity with what Israel done with Palestine was what? The first similarity was that we as a government, there's been precedent before with what we're doing. We're not just doing it, and you can't just come and blame us. Before us, there were governments who had also done what we had done, and therefore they are the ones who are equally to blame as much as us. They are the ones who've given us that position where we could do this. Number 1. Number 2, similarity between Palestine and Karbala. What is it? In Palestine, you have a government who uses religion to further their political needs. Yes? If you look today, they say that this is a Jewish vision. It's not Jewish vision, it's a Zionist vision. The Zionists, to the extent that there are Jews who themselves come forward and say that this has nothing to do with Judaism, this is Zionism. At the end of the day, do I have an issue with Judaism? No, no issue with Judaism. At the end of the day, I come from a religion where Judaism, Islam, and Christianity can all live in peace with one another. But when the Zionist entity came forward, what did it say? It used religion to further its political ambition. That if we put the card of religion inside, what will then happen? What will then happen will be that everybody who has that inclination will accept what we say. If we say God has promised this land, and we say that this is the Jewish vision, then everybody has to go with that particular worldview. Today, how many times in demonstrations do you see rabbis who are at the front with the Muslims? Rabbis at the front with the Muslims. Say to the rabbi, why are you at the front with the Muslims? He says, because this is not Judaism, what they are doing over there. There are Jews who stand up against this. Why? Because they recognize that that government has the image of religion, but the whole vision is political. Second relationship with Karbala. What? Yazid's government, exactly the same. Yazid's government, what was the image? Wallah, it wasn't even an Islamic image. But still, there were parts of it which were Islam. Yazid has nothing to do with Islam. Yazid, what's his belief? Yazid, not even Christian, forget his mom's side. Yazid, even a person can say, like his dad and his granddad, wallah, even atheism is a far stretch for them. These people, there's no religion there. What is there? Political ambition. As Abu Sufyan told his grandsons and his cousins, if that khilafah comes into your hand, do not let go of it. If that ball is in your court, do not let go of it. Why? Why was this said? Because it was made clear that for Bani Umayyah, publicly what are we? We are khalifas of Allah on earth. You don't care about Allah, nor do you care about the sunnah of Rasulullah. Your only concern is Kufa in my hand? I want the settlements of Kufa. Is Basra in my hand? I want the settlements of Basra. Is Palestine, Lebanon, Jordan, Syria, are they all in our hands? The more we can expand the Muslim empire. The more I can expand the Muslim empire, that's my whole concern. No, the concern deep down was put Islam as the flag. But deep down, what's the ambition? The ambition is to make sure that a political entity spreads, like some say, from the Nile to the Euphrates. Yes? Theirs wasn't the Nile to the Euphrates. Theirs was whichever part of the world we can dominate, wherever we can expand, so be it. If Muhammad's grandson's in the way, even he'll be beheaded. The main thing is what? Put the religious card and go with that card. And that's why Imam Hussein alayhi salam, numerous times on the 10th of Muharram, what does he tell them? He says, "O army of Yazid, at the end of the day, if you pray, aren't I the one whose grandfather you're praising in salah? So you're listening to a man in Sham who doesn't have none of this belief, and you're going in his direction." The second similarity between Palestine and Karbala was what? Was governments who used their religion as a what? As a card for their political ambitions. That was number two. The third similarity between Palestine and Karbala was what? The third similarity, a racial arrogance and superiority. You see this, that you see, we are God's chosen people, and the rest of you are lower than us. And if you have to be exterminated, wallah, some of the words that you see from some of the members of the Knesset or some of the members of the political elite, a Palestinian is not a human being to him. A Palestinian is less than an animal to him. To him, what is this Arab? These Arabs should all be exterminated. We should get rid of them. None of them should be in our way. Move them from our way. That racial arrogance that exists does not look at a child as a human being. It's another Arab child. So what? If the Arab child is killed, so what? If the Arab child's body is mutilated, so what? These aren't even people worth looking at when you are the chosen person of God. That third similarity you saw with who? With Bani Umayyah when it came to Karbala. Bani Umayyah, you think they looked at everyone else at the same level? From their grandmother Hind until the last of them. What is this Muhammad? And what is this guy? Orphan, poor, from the lower of Quraysh. We are the highest of Quraysh. We are the elite of Quraysh. Does not Yazid boast about his ancestry poking the mouth of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam? Yazid pokes the mouth of Imam al-Hussein and the nose of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. And he turns around and he talks about his racial superiority. ليت أشياخي ببدر شهدوا جزع الخزرج من وقع الأسل لا أهلوا واستهلوا فرحا ثم قالوا يا يزيد لا تشل لعبت هاشم بالملك فلا خبر جاء ولا وحي نزل. In one poem, Yazid showed his political ambition, his lack of religious belief, and his racial arrogance. What was he saying? I wish my ancestors from Badr were here today. What does he mean by that? From Badr, he lost his grandfather when he was killed by Imam Ali ibn Abi Talib. On the day of Badr, Utbah bin Rabi'a was killed by Ali ibn Abi Talib. He said, I wish my ancestors from Badr were here so that they could see what I have done towards Hussein and the rest of that family. And then he said, Bani Hashim, they played with a kingdom. There was no news and there was no revelation. No belief, racial superiority, complete arrogance. And that's why when they did what they did to the children of Abu Abdullah, part of what they did was what? You are lower than us. You are the lowest of the earth. If we get rid of you, we don't miss anything. If we haunt you, we don't miss anything. You are the lowest of the low. When you saw that language coming from them, you therefore found a similarity again between Palestine and Karbala. That you had leaders who felt they were racially superior to who they were controlling, to who they were killing. That was number 3. The fourth similarity, what was it? Block any aid from coming to their help. How many times you've seen when there was aid that was coming towards where? Coming towards Palestine. How many doctors found it difficult to reach? How many tried to bring medicine in and people were blocking it? How many tried their hardest to come and support and no one would allow? Even media outlets, the moment a UN organization or office tried to support the Palestinians, automatically they were put on the banned list. Automatically. You are a UN group that supports what's happening in Palestine and tries to speak out for the people, automatically there was an X. Why? Because they knew that one of the ways a massacre can take place is when you block aid in that massacre, correct? Anyone who wants to support that people, you block them. Did that happen with Karbala as well? Of course it happened with Karbala. How with Karbala? With Karbala, do you know how many thousands there were from Kufa who wanted to come to the aid of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam? Many times people say the people of Kufa let him down. I tell you, there was more than 5,000 people who were beheaded in Kunasa Square, Kufa, who were supporters of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Supporters. Where are you going? Ibn Ziyad would ask. We're going towards helping Sayyid al-Shuhada. Behead them. Many of you know, Hani bin Urwa, beheaded. Muslim bin Aqil, beheaded. Mukhtar al-Thaqafi, placed in prison. Others who were beheaded. Look at the similarities between the two. When a person wanted to go and support, they were labeled a terrorist against the government. They were labeled as a radical, as an extremist. The same happened with Karbala. That's when people wanted to come to the aid of who? To the aid of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. They were either put in the prisons of Kufa, or they were killed, or they were placed somewhere where they could be of no help to Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. The fourth similarity. The fifth similarity is when there are those you think could at least speak out for you and they are silent. Yes? Do you know how many were silent when Imam al-Hussein got attacked? How many were alive at that time from amongst those who had met Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, and they were silent seeing what happened to Abu Abdullah? You look at Abdullah, the son of Umar ibn al-Khattab, not a single word to come out and say that we will not pledge allegiance to Yazid. Others who were there, who had met Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi, couldn't even say a single word. Why? Because for them, they didn't want to get involved. You've heard this concept. I'd rather not get involved. I'd rather not say anything. Of course, everyone has their situation, no doubt. But there were some who had a voice that could have been used, that could have affected at least Medina or Mecca. Those who say that Imam al-Hussein was killed by the people of Kufa. If Mecca and Medina had spoken up, he wouldn't have had to have gone to Kufa. Abu Abdullah, if Medina spoke up for him and his family, he wouldn't have to leave Medina to come to Mecca. If the people on Hajj or Umrah, if they had spoken up for, say, the Shuhada, he wouldn't have to have had his Hajj incomplete and leave. The only reason, say, the Shuhada found himself in such a situation was sometimes not the words of your enemies, as Martin Luther King used to say, but the silence of your friends. Subhanallah, this world, how much we see in Karbala. Likewise, when it comes to Palestine, you find sometimes it's not the words of the enemy. No, sometimes the silence of the friends. First silence, who? Sometimes there are Palestinians who are silent about the plight of other Palestinians. There is a DJ in America, without bringing his name. He is a Palestinian DJ himself. Hardly a single word. And I see one of the youngsters straight away said his name. Without saying a single word. I say that maybe he has his situation. But you're a Palestinian, these are your people. There are others who are lawyers, others celebrities. There are some, let me make clear, in that world who have also spoken out. There's no doubt. And when I say speak out, I am no one here to say the length of how much you speak out. Ayatollah Sistani, may Allah lengthen his life. One statement is enough to wake everyone up from him on that situation. But at least those who are around you, explain to them. Say to them that look what's happening. Try and think about a ceasefire. Someone says, but does it really have an effect? It does, even a minimal effect. There are political groups in this country who were shaking in the elections because of some of the decisions that they made, where they had to begin to reassess whether they were silent or whether they should have helped or should have pushed for a ceasefire. Some results do work. Therefore, a fifth comparison between Palestine and Karbala is what? Is that there was silence when it came to Palestine. And likewise, with Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, some of the people you expected to say something were those who only regretted after Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam died. The sixth similarity, what is it? Block the water from reaching the people. One of the most famous similarities between Palestine and Karbala is what? Is the blockage of water. In which ways? In Palestine, you know, since 1967, either the infrastructure of the water or the resources of the water for everyone has been controlled to an extent that the Palestinian people virtually have to beg for what comes their way. When you see water should be available to everybody, forget the human being. Water and clean water, not contaminated water. I may see that I have an enemy out there, but if they're thirsty, I will never let them die of thirst. I'll say, here's some water over here. Have a drink of this water. That water, I will never try and get dirty water, even for my enemy. Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen did not tell Muawiyah's army, now that we have the water, you can't have. No, here, let them go and drink. Even their horses should not be thirsty. That was the mentality. Whereas you look in Palestine, contaminated water, blatantly. 95% contamination. Why? As in that 6-year-old, what have they done wrong to you? That family, what have they done wrong for them not to get water? The infrastructure of the way the water works is literally what? Let them all be in a concentration camp and we will dictate what reaches them. Does it bring you any comparison? Let them be in a concentration camp. We will dictate what comes to them. In the same way, in Karbala, surround them. Don't let them get to the Furat. Subhanallah. Subhanallah. Abu Abdullah and his family and his companions was like a camp concentrated where nobody could get to them, including the water which pigs and dogs drink from. The dog could go to the Furat and drink clean water. And Sukaina bint al-Husayn's lips are dry. Imagine that scene. That animal could get to the Furat and drink from that water. And slaves and servants, and the rich and the poor, and a 6-month-old baby cannot get water to come towards them. But how did they do it? They made sure that the access to water was always blocked. Why? Kill a human being without food. But when a soldier's lips are dry, and when his tongue is dry, and that energy that he needs, it affects everyone there. Subhanallah, the similarity. How there today, I look at a Palestinian child thirsty, automatically I think, and the children. Automatically I look. The eighth similarity, what is it? Burn the place even if there are women there. Yeah, how many times we saw mothers coming out in the middle of fire. Help us, help us, help us. An 18-year-old and a 21-year-old and a 57-year-old. For what crime? What crime have they committed? But rather, it doesn't matter. Woman, men, elder, younger, get rid of them, burn their houses. Don't just burn if they are in a tent somewhere. Burn those tents as well. May Allah never show you your mother running from tent to tent. Yes? That scene is something that no one should ever have to see in their life. No human being, whether they are my sect in Islam or no, whether they are Christian, Jewish, Hindu, Buddhist, Sikh, whatever they are, no human being should see their mother holding a child calling out, help me, help me. Yes? Because what's the ninth similarity between Palestine and Karbala? How many children died in the process? You look at Palestine, and how many children do you see, my dear brothers and sisters, dying? How many? You see children everywhere. And these children vary from the baby who's just been born. Allahu Akbar, how history repeats itself. Allahu Akbar. You know, sometimes these things have to happen for us to believe Karbala happened. Let's have a second louder salawat in honor of Imam Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam. And a third in honor of Sayyid al-Shuhada alayhi salam. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. Truly, sometimes it's only when we saw ISIS we believed what they could do. It's only when we saw this and we saw women running from tent to tent, the one calling out, where's my father? You see it in the news, in BBC, wherever. Where's my father? Where's my brother? Where's my uncle? Where's... Wallah, at that moment you think, Masa'ib al-Hussein. Allahu Akbar. Sometimes people used to say that maybe these Masa'ib that you recite in Muharram, maybe they're exaggerated. I say, come and look at the news today. Have a look. Just change the names slightly. Yes? And have a look when a mother goes one way and the other. Why? Because her 1-day-old baby has been killed in front of her. And other mothers in Palestine, the 6-month-old baby. And we were witnessing a baby in the hands 6-month-old baby we witnessed as well. And others looking through the rubble of the earth. You look through the rubble of the earth. Where is my 8-year-old? And where's my 11-year-old? And where's that moon I used to look at every day? Yes, that's what the mothers are shouting. In Palestine, what are they shouting? I miss my 11-year-old. I miss my 12-year-old. I miss my 8-year-old. Some, and I want you to hear this properly, some know the children died when they saw the body of their loved one in front of them. Allahu Akbar. Some in Palestine, when the child saw the head of their father, they fell on it. Because a child cannot bear to see the beard of a father full of blood. Isn't that true? It's difficult for that child. When I see a child in Rafah or in Gaza, and I see them running around, one of them's calling Baba, and another's calling uncle, and then when that child sees the father, it falls on the body of the father. Why? Because it wants to ask the father a question. Who has made me an orphan at this age? Allah. All of you know where I'm heading. This is the first of our 12 nights. I haven't even entered the Masa'ib, but I know there are many hearts here that want to open up. There are many of you here who yearn to be in Karbala, whether it's those watching online or whether it's those who are here. There are many. I see in Palestine that child fall on the father. Who made me an orphan at this young age, father? And I see another child who says, don't attack me. My father and my uncle are not here to protect me. You've heard those lines before. You haven't heard those lines, yes? I don't know if that brings you similarities with other masa'ib. And then there are others. Oh, soldiers, leave us. Our dresses are on fire. We don't know which way to head, yes? When you see all of that, where does your mind go? You don't need to teach a Shi'i where his mind goes, because his mother gave him the milk of Sayyid al-Shuhada. Isn't that true? Our mothers took us Majalis al-Hussein. And they took us there. Why? Because they wanted to teach us. There'll be a day when you see an atrocity take place. The moment you see that atrocity, then know one thing, that there was something similar to it that took place many years before. All of those are similarities. All of those should take you back towards one place, no doubt. Today, some people say that everyone should mention Gaza in their majalis. I reply, everyone in Gaza should mention Karbala in their majalis. Someone says, what do you mean? I say, yes, we are mentioning Gaza in our majalis. But I'll tell you what, if that person in Gaza mentions Sayyid al-Shuhada, it will give them a lot more peace in their heart. Why? Because they'll say, I may have it bad, but what did that man go through in one day? And what did all those ladies go through? And what did all those children go through? Is Gaza and Palestine equal to Karbala? There is no day like Abu Abdullah's day. Let's make that clear. And when I make it clear, it's not because I am belittling or not empathizing with what's happening there. There is a difference between the man killed in Karbala and anyone else. And we in this hall, and we wherever we are fortunate that we are associated with him. Wallah, we are fortunate that we are born into Karbala. Why are we fortunate? Because whatever happens, I have Sayyid al-Shuhada. Whatever I go through in life, me or my mum or my dad or my brothers or my sisters or anyone, I could always say, Assalamu alayka ya Aba Abdullah. And I could always hold on to Sayyid al-Shuhada with whatever I go through. Someone asks a question. Why is it not equal, Palestine and Karbala? I will tell you why. Number one, prophets mourned for the man who died in Karbala. No one else had that honor except Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Nabi Ibrahim alayhi salam walks past Karbala. When he asks, what is it that's going to happen here? They say to him, the grandson of the final prophet and the son of his wasi will die here. He began to cry for Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. Tell me, is there a single occasion on this earth where every Nabi from Adam until Muhammad has cried for one man? Is there a single incident? Why do we recite Ziyarat Warith? Because it's as if every one of those prophets you say salam to mourned Imam al-Hussein. Assalamu alayka ya waritha Adam, Safwatullah. Assalamu alayka ya waritha Nuh, Nabiyullah. Assalamu alayka ya waritha Ibrahim, Khalilullah. Assalamu alayka ya waritha Musa, Kalimullah. Assalamu alayka ya waritha Isa. Assalamu alayka ya waritha Muhammad. Allahumma salli. Name me an incident that every one of those prophets read Masa'ib for. Name me one incident. Badr? No. Uhud? No. Khandaq? No. Khaybar? No. Jamal? No. Saffin? No. Only one incident did the prophets of Allah do a musibah for, that they wished it was their neck, not Hussein's neck, on that plain of Karbala. Number one, that's what makes Karbala. Number two, there are many who are killed in Palestine, many, and unfortunately they are all killed. But we realize that they are not chosen by Allah. Yes, they are creations of Allah. The man killed in Karbala was chosen by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There's a distinction when you're chosen by Allah. Why? Because you become a sign of Allah on earth. Yes? When you are a sign of Allah, if the camel of the people of Salih was a sign of Allah that made Allah overturn Thamud, then what is Hussein bin Ali? Imam al-Hussein is not the leader of a social movement like a Luther King or a Gandhi. This is a man who all of this was created for him. ما خلقت سماء مبنية ولا أرضا ولا قمرا ولا شمسا ولا. All of these lines that we recite, I did not create the moon or the sun or the heavens or the stars or the earth except for my love of Muhammad and Ali and Fatima and Hassan and Hussein. Hussein. Someone says, what does this mean? I didn't create everything except for them. If I was going to build a school somewhere, I'm going to ask 5 brilliant teachers, wherever they are in the world, to come and join my new school. If those 5 don't join, it's not worth building. There's no point me building that new school if these 5 aren't in there. There's no point creating this universe if you never had the perfection of those 5 personalities. Those aren't leaders of social movements that you can build a communism or a Marxism movement from. That person, number 3, it was the killing not of a human, the hujjah of Allah on earth. Say the shuhada is the hujjah of Allah. These heavens and the earth cease to exist if that man is not there. Like our hujjah of our time. Yes? That third level is that you've killed the hujjah of Allah. Number 4, the people dying in Palestine, our du'as are with them. But we cannot categorically say that the Hur al-Ain cry for them, and the skies rain blood for them, and that the beasts of the earth and the sky weep for them. You can for Imam al-Hussein and Ashura and Karbala. Say the shuhada. The earth and the heavens cried the moment that neck was severed. The moment that neck was severed, the skies rained blood in a part of the world. The moment that neck was severed, even the beasts of the sea started to wail. Imagine the movement in the universe that the nur of this man was created from. Wallah, I never forget that line of poetry. which martyr did the sunlight? Which martyr did the sun's light burn his body? That same sun was created because of his light. That man, when he died in Karbala, there is nothing comparable. There has never been a human who, when he died, every entity on this whole world and universe cried at that moment. But it's our eyes that don't see the Hur al-Ain screaming when shimmer comes near the chest. It's our ears that don't hear when the birds can't stop crying, seeing Hussein's body kicked one way and the other. Name me an incident where the heavens and the earth's masa'ib are at the same time. You can never name that. You can never name anywhere like that. And that's why when someone says, what's the ultimate proof? Ultimate proof that there is no day like what? The day of Imam al-Hussein. It's when a ma'soom says, there is no day like your day, Aba Abdullah. Which ma'soom said this? Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam. Shaykh al-Saduq narrates within his Amali from Imam Zayn al-Abidin alayhi salam, who was about 12 years of age when this happened. Imam al-Hasan, as you know, the poison began to spread in his body. Yes? When the poison began to spread in his body, at that moment, what happened? What happened was that he was there in the house. Shaykh al-Saduq narrates from Imam Zayn al-Abidin alayhi salam. He narrates that Imam Zayn al-Abidin saw his father, Imam al-Hussein, that fateful day in Safar. Imam al-Hasan was there. Imam al-Hussein entered. When Imam al-Hussein entered, the moment Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam entered, he saw Imam al-Hasan in the state that he was in. Yes? When he saw him, he began to cry. Imam Zayn al-Abidin said, I saw Imam al-Hussein crying and crying. Imam al-Hasan said to him, what's wrong with you, Aba Abdullah? He said, I see you in this state, and it hurts me what you are going through. Imam al-Hasan alayhi salam looked at him and he said, I have been poisoned. But La yawm ka yawmika ya Aba Abdullah. There is no day like your day, Aba Abdullah. Listen to Imam al-Hasan reading the masa'ib of Imam al-Hussein. Imam al-Hasan doesn't know about what will happen in the future. Ahlul Bayt talk to us about the signs of Imam al-Mahdi. Ahlul Bayt talk to us about the signs of Qiyamah. Ahlul Bayt have the knowledge they've inherited from Amir al-Mu'mineen, from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, from the heavens. Imam al-Hasan could easily say, Aba Abdullah, your day is a sad day, but there will be sad days equal to it. No. La yawm ka yawmika ya Aba Abdullah. He doesn't stop there. If he stopped there, then someone could say it's just for that. He says why there is no day like Aba Abdullah's day. He said, La yawm ka yawmika ya Aba Abdullah. 30,000 men claiming that they are from the ummah of our grandfather Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alih will come looking to shed your blood, and they will kill you, and they will surround you, and they will take the honor of the religion of Islam. And on top of that, listen to this, musibah after musibah, they will kill you, take your honor, shed your blood, take the honor of the religion of Islam, and they will take your women as captives as well, yes? And they will take them from one place to another, yes? Imagine the ladies in Palestine. They may be going through trials, but to be taken with chains around your neck from one city to another, from one location to another. No, from one country to another country, to another country. And to have people pelt stones on your face, and to have one say, where's my uncle? And another say, where's my father? Then Imam al-Hassan, what did he say? He said, Aba Abdullah, the skies will pour blood on your day. Yes? As if he's saying, I may die shortly, but the skies don't pour blood when I die. Only the way you die. The skies pour blood, and the beasts of the earth and the sea will be weeping over you. Imam al-Hussein heard these words, and that's why one of the ulama breaks our heart. One of our scholars, in his dream, he saw Imam al-Hussein and Imam al-Hassan speaking to one another. He said, I saw the two of them and the tears were flowing from their eyes. He said, I looked at them talk to each other. He looked and he said, Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam at that moment looked at Imam al-Hassan, and Imam al-Hassan looked at Imam al-Hussein, and Imam al-Hassan called out, my brother, is it fair, my brother, is it fair that they poisoned me but they beheaded you? Allah. Is it fair, my brother, is it fair that they poisoned me and they beheaded you? He said, Imam al-Hussein, however, noticing his brother was hurt, he turned around to Imam al-Hassan. He wanted to console him. He said, Imam al-Hussein turned around to Imam al-Hassan and said to him, oh my brother, is it fair that I have many Zuwar who come to visit me, and there are none in Baqi' to go and visit you? Allahu Akbar. Don't forget Imam al-Hassan tonight. When we enter Muharram, people forget Imam al-Hassan. I want you to take your hearts a little bit to Imam al-Hassan tonight. Is it fair, my brother, is it fair that there are people who come to visit me in Karbala but none to come and visit you? Is it fair, my brother, is it fair that my Zawar are welcomed when they visit me, whereas your Zawar are pushed away when they visit you? Allahu Akbar. Is it fair, my brother, is it fair that I have a dharih on top of my grave? Allah, you all know where I'm going. That I have a dharih on top of my grave and you have a stone on top of you. Allahu Akbar. Is it fair, my brother, is it fair that I have an alam on top of my mosque and you have none on the top of you? Listen to the reply of Imam al-Hassan to his brother. He looked towards him and he said, oh Hussein, do not cry. There'll be a day when people will visit me and Zayn al-Abidin, Muhammad al-Baqir, Ja'far al-Sadiq and al-Banin, and all of them, they're all looking for one thing. What is it? The vibrations of a broken rib in Medina. Allah. Fatima al-Zahra is the one to be consoled on this night, one of Muharram. They'll come to Medina. They'll only look for one thing: the vibrations of a broken rib in Medina. Allahu Akbar. That night in Safar, what happened? Imam al-Hassan, when he was telling Imam al-Hussein, La yawm ka yawmika ya Aba Abdullah, that moment, Imam al-Hassan, the blood was coming out of his mouth into a bowl. The blood kept on coming and coming. Then all of a sudden, Imam al-Hassan looked at Imam al-Hussein. He said, cover the bowl. He said, why? He said, I hear Zaynab entering. And I don't want Zaynab seeing the blood like this. I say to him with my voice all the way to Baqi', if you didn't want Zaynab to see that blood, come see Zaynab seeing Abbas's arms gone. If you couldn't want Zaynab to see that blood, then look at Zaynab call out, Mahlan, Mahlan, ya ibn Zahra. If you couldn't bear to see Zainab seeing that blood, then what happened when Zainab saw Hussein's head in a bowl in Sham? Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. وسيعلم الذين ظلموا أي منقلب ينقلبون واللعنة الدائمة على القوم الظالمين. Ya Allah, raise your hands, my dear brothers and sisters, all those who are watching online, all of us, let us raise our hands. Many of us are in need of our du'as to be answered, Ya Allah. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the people of Palestine and the oppressed around the world today, Ya Allah. Ya Allah, Shi'at Amir al-Mu'mineen alayhi salam, wherever they may be, Ya Allah, bring them happiness, victory and success, Ya Allah. We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for our marhumeen who instilled in us the love of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. For the originators of this majlis, Ya Allah, let them continue in their service of Muhammad and Al Muhammad. Our respected teacher, Ayatollah Sayyid Fadl al-Milani, is going through a very difficult time with illness. If we can all come together and recite dua together and the ayah of the Quran so that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps him in these difficult times. All of you together wherever you may be. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Amma yujibul. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه. Much louder, all of us together as Muharram. أما يجيب المضطر إذا دعاه. أما يجيب أما يجيب We pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with the Surah Al-Fatiha, but before it the loudest of your salawat.